Hey there, happy Easter. Welcome to day 110 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. Today we are talking about kindness, 100% responsibility, and how they impact our relationships. I love this topic. It's kind of hard to combine topics, but there's so many different topics that we want to talk about every single area of the life framework. Sometimes I have to double them up. So the next couple of days, we're going to double and triple up a couple of topics. And today's is kindness and 100% responsibility. And to me, I can easily meld them together because I think we need both elements in our relationships. We want them to grow and deepen and thrive and be important to us. Now, I think we should always be kind. I'm just going to put that out there. I agree with Gary Vee. Gary Vee's big thing is kindness. That's what his underlying message always is treat people the way you want to be treated, which how many times a year do I say that? Literally thousands. If you're not treating people the way you want to be treated, then are you really being kind? I catch myself being unkind sometimes. Don't like it. Usually beat myself up significantly over it. But sometimes we just feel inclined to comment when we should just, zip our little lip. So how does kindness impact our relationships? Well, it allows us to be ourselves in our relationships. It makes us feel more safe and secure. It allows the other person in the relationship to feel more safe and secure. If they know that you're going to respond with kindness, you're not going to be judging or criticizing and all the other negative things we've talked about so far this month. It allows us to build trust in our relationships. It allows us to foster an environment, again, of safety and security and knowing that the relationship is important to each of us, right? In our relationships, we're kind. In healthy relationships, we're kind. I'm going to put that out there right now. And it doesn't mean we're not unkind sometimes, because guess what? We all are. Sometimes we react when we should take a deep breath and respond because of what's going on inside of us, which is where 100% responsibility comes in. We need to own our actions, our feelings, our comments, our tone, our body language. Everything about us is 100% our responsibility. We get to choose how we're going to react, how we're going to feel, how we're going to respond, what we're going to think, what we're going to believe, what's important to us. You can say, oh, this is what's right and this is what's wrong, but that is just our beliefs because it's different for everybody, right? I mean, some things we hold in common, and those are the people that we're attracted to and we form relationships with. Some things we don't. Very seldom do two people agree on absolutely everything. Sometimes you agree on a bigger percentage of things than others, but there's always going to be conflicts. We talked about that a couple of days ago. There's going to be stuff that comes up. And if we handle them with kindness, I'm going to share 5 ways to improve and increase kindness and 100% responsibility in your relationships. But if we do that, if we choose to do those things, our relationships are going to be a positive impact on our life. If you've ever had a negative relationship in any way, shape, or form, in any area or aspect of your life, you know exactly what I'm thinking, and talking about. If you think back to that relationship, was there some unkindness in it? Was there somebody blaming or accusing or not taking 100% responsibility for their own actions and their own thoughts, their own feelings, and their own beliefs? It's easy to assess blame for others for how we feel, especially if we feel hurt or betrayed or in some way, shape, or form abused. It's easy to blame that on the other person. But guess what? We're the ones that stay there and put up with it and don't hold true to our boundaries and ourselves. And that's the absolute most important relationship in the whole wide world, is that we are kind and we take 100% responsibility to ourselves. So what are these 5 ways we can go about taking responsibility, 100% responsibility, not just 50%? I remember growing up, people are like, oh, relationships need to be 50-50. And I call BS on that. If you're only giving 50% and the other person's only giving 50%, you might have a okay relationship, but it's never going to be a good, growing, strong, great relationship because you're not giving all of yourself to the relationship. And relationships where we don't give all of ourselves are okay for certain situations. Social relationships, good grief. We can't give 100% of ourselves to all of our relationships and the different degrees of relationships. Social interactions, people that you see casually, are not 100% relationships necessarily, but our kids, our family, our parents, our significant others, those really ought to be closer to 100% than 50. So what are 5 ways to go about taking 100% responsibility and being kind. Number one, active listening and empathy. Of course, we want to practice active listening and empathy. Why? Because when we actively listen to somebody, when we are present, when we are 100% there, they know it and they feel it and they feel more inclined to be open and honest and share, and it increases trust in our relationships. Empathy is actually the heart of kindness, right? Putting ourselves in someone else's shoes and understanding what they're really trying to communicate and convey, which is part of active listening, is a true sign of caring about the relationship. Number two, own your emotions and reactions. This is a biggie for all of us, me especially, because naturally we want to avoid any negative reactions that we have and not take credit for them, right? Not own them. And any positive reactions we have or any positive emotions we have, we want to take 100% credit for them. And the truth is, we need to take credit and responsibility. To me, credit and 100% responsibility are the same thing. We need to own up to and take 100% responsibility for all of our emotions. The good, the bad, the ugly ones, yep, we got to own them too. If I'm feeling jealous or annoyed or angry or frustrated, frustration is a big one for me. I get frustrated when things don't work out, and this is my definition, which needs to change again, I notice. If I am feeling frustrated, if I'm letting myself choose to feel frustrated, and that's the really powerful way of dealing with negative emotions, is saying, why am I choosing to be upset about this? Why am I choosing to be angry right now? Because that reminds me and you that we are actually making a conscious choice. It might not initially be a conscious choice, but the longer we feel that emotion, the more we are reminding ourselves and staying in that emotion, the more we are choosing it. There's a difference between, if you trip and fall and hurt yourself, that initial feeling of pain and frustration and beating ourselves up because we're klutzy, that might be an automatic reaction, a learned reaction from past experiences. But the longer we sit and dwell in that feeling sorry for ourselves, the longer we're choosing it. And we can stop choosing it immediately. We have the power as human beings to do that. So we need to take responsibility for our emotions and our reactions, all of them. Even if the other person did something to really cause us harm and damage, our reaction to that is 100% ours. They don't own our reaction to it. That's when we cut off toxic people and toxic relationships, is we just say, we stand up for ourselves, being kind to ourselves, and we say no to them. Number three, lead with compassion and patience, right? I am working on this one with my granddaughters because and it's, again, here's where I need to own my own emotions. I'm afraid something could happen to them or they'll be hurt. Guess what? They're going to scrape their knees. They're going to get hurt. I can't prevent all of that. That's part of their learning experience. But I react out of my own fear, and that's something I need to own. That's actually a really good example of something I need to work on. But by showing compassion and being patient and just giving them a minute to figure it out themselves, they will almost always make exactly the same decision or do the right thing or the same thing that I would have wanted them to do anyway, right? If I just give them the space to learn and grow and figure it out for themselves. And that takes patience, which as a younger person, I was very, very impatient. I think as I get older, I get a little better, but I'm still not there yet, right? Everything in our life is a continually improving process. That's why we want to do something every day to just be better, a little bit better. By the end of the year, we're 365 ways a little bit better. And all that adds up to make a huge impact on us, those around us, and therefore on the world. Number four, communicate with honesty and integrity. People know if you're full of it, right? I mean, people know if you are not being true to yourself, because our body language always shows, our eyes show, our facial expressions show. Are we communicating and being honest with somebody? And those relationships that are important to us deserve our honesty and our approach of taking responsibility for whether we aren't honest or not, right? We all make mistakes, but if we take responsibility for our mistakes, that proves that the relationship is important to us. I mean, speaking our truth, even if it's something somebody doesn't want to hear, because our truth is our truth. It doesn't have to be their truth, but it's true for us. Each of us, and this is really something I learned as I got older, we all have our own little definition and our own version of reality. What's real to you is absolutely 100% true and real for you. What's real for me is absolutely 100% true and real for me. But guess what? Reality is different for each and every one of us. It's why 150 people can witness the exact same thing. And if you were to depose all of them, you would get 150 slightly different versions of whatever the event was. They've done scientific studies on that, and it's so true, but it's so profound to keep that in mind, that whenever we're in a relationship, especially our close relationships, that person's reality is always going to be a little different than ours, right? Even though we experience things together and have shared experiences, how they experience that event or travel or whatever it might be, whether a positive or negative experience, they're going to experience it slightly differently than I will. We just need to keep that in mind. Number 5, be willing to apologize and forgive. We are not perfect, any of us. And so we have to be willing to take a deep breath and say, oh my God, I was just such a jerk. I am so sorry. And honestly, truly, sincerely mean that apology. And then because apologizing isn't a weakness, it's showing that we know we're human and we make mistakes. And sometimes we say things or do things that we wish we hadn't said or done, especially in the heat of conflict or challenges or stressful times that we're experiencing. And we all go through those as well. And then finally, when somebody else is willing to admit their mistakes, forgive them, let it go, and move on so that you can keep the relationships that are important to you. Of course, that doesn't apply to toxic, unhealthy relationships that sometimes we find ourselves in as well. I was going to talk about what happens when we don't have 100% responsibility and kindness in our relationships, but I think we all know what happens, right? The relationship is doomed to fail, or some harm is going to come to one of the parties in some way, shape, or form. And harm can be emotional, harm can be physical, harm can be all kinds of things. Harm can be missed opportunities, okay. All right, so that's our topic for today. Action item. I want you to think about as you go about your day and just notice how kind you are to other people. Are you treating other people the way you expect to be treated? And if not, time to do a little more self-reflecting, and I encourage you to journal about that today and say, okay, here's a situation where I could have been kinder, or I should have been kinder, or I wish I had been kinder. Or the reverse, notice if you are not taking 100% responsibility in anything today. And if not, why? And then, is it an area where you should be taking 100% responsibility? Because sometimes I don't take 100% responsibility because it is not my business and not my responsibility. Other times I horn in because that's my last name. Not appropriate. And then I should apologize. But notice those things, kind of unravel that and journal about that a little bit today and say, should I have been? And if I should have, why did I not? And should I not have? And if I did, why do I think I can do that? Because that's not validating someone else's boundaries. All right, that's it for today. Happy Easter. I hope you get to have some fun Easter celebrations today. I know I will. Let's have an awesome day. If I can help you, ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.